Brendan Kearney is a retired colonel with the U.S. Marine Corps and a military affairs analyst. He joins me now from Santa Rosa in California. Colonel, it's a pleasure having you on the program. Firstly, if I can get your take on Moscow's latest consideration of not including these surrendered Ukrainian fighters in a prisoner swap. What does that tell you exactly?
Well, I think it reflects the overall Russian frustration with the resistance that these Ukrainian fighters have made. If you recall, these steelworks have been predicted to fall for the last 2 months, if not even slightly longer than that. And these Ukrainians have conducted a brilliant defense, taking advantage of the steelworks themselves. There's almost nothing you can build that is ideally suited for the defense. And they took advantage of it. I think the Russians are furious, and I think they want to take some revenge now that they have the opportunity.
Ukraine's Deputy Minister of Defense, Hanna Maliar, said during a media briefing that the Ukrainian troops who surrendered to Russian forces was basically the only way to rescue them. Do you agree?
I think they were in such a dire situation in terms of the numbers of wounded, the numbers of civilians, the lack of food, the lack of ammunition, and really the position so far away from any possibility of Ukrainian breakthrough to lift that siege. I really do think it was probably the only thing that could be done. So I think it's probably the smart move in the short run. The mid and long-term implications, of course, are going to be with how the Russians actually treat these prisoners of war right now.
All right, so the U.S. State Department has just announced a new program called the Conflict Observatory, which is meant to provide evidence of Russia-perpetrated war crimes. What could this mean for President Vladimir Putin and his administration, and should Putin even care?
Well, in terms of the State Department's announcement, I think that Putin doesn't care. I don't think he will dismiss it if he even bothers to address it. Russian media may address it, but again, quite frankly, they don't matter. It's what Putin says that really does matter. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this turns out. I think the Russians will gloat over the fact they have finally seized these steelworks, these defensive positions, and the troops that are in them. But they can't gloat too long, because all that does is draw the attention to the Ukrainians that they resisted in a manner that far exceeded what Russian expectations were.
Before I let you go, Colonel, in one report, we're hearing Ukrainian forces in Kharkiv have pushed Russian troops back to the border. In another report, a town in Donetsk was hit by a Russian missile, and what analysts say may be an indication that the Kremlin forces could be extending their range of attacks. What's your assessment of the conflict at this point in time? Do you even see it winding down?
No, I do not, sadly. I wish it would. I think the Ukrainians really have got the initiative in this battle. They've put the Russians back on their heels. I think the Ukrainians will continue to make local offensive operations that will be largely successful as they push the Russians primarily into a defensive operation. Now, what the Russians will do is they will respond with artillery and missiles and possibly airstrikes to show the world that they're still in this, that they still have offensive capability. But they really are, there's been reporting that over a third of their forces have been killed or wounded or otherwise incapacitated. You cannot run an offensive or defensive operation for an extended period of time with those type of losses. So we're going to have to see how much energy the Russians have in the defense and how much energy the Ukrainians want to put into offensive moves.
Colonel Brendan Kearney, appreciate your perspective. Thank you.